In our previous video, we discussed the procedure, general procedure for the plane stress transformation. We discussed that plane stress transformation means that if you're given this state of plane stress on this element and knowing the state of stress on element which is oriented at certain different angle with respect to the previous original element, this process is called stress transformation. So knowing these quantities and finding these at certain theta is what transformation is all about. So we discussed that for that we need to consider, for example, if we know if you consider this blue element, you know the the state of stress on this element. You know the state of stress with respect to this element, blue element, and you want to know the state of stress at at a new element which is oriented at slightly differently. Then you need to use the basic procedure, which is uh, cutting a plane, consider a cut plane, and then exposing that inclined plane. This was the original blue, this was the original plane at which is making 0 degree angle with, for example, x-axis, horizontal axis, and now this inclined plane is making maybe certain angle theta with the original orientation. So this inclined plane has certain angle. It's x, let's call it x prime, normal to this inclined plane x prime, and normal to the original normal to the original plane may be called x-axis. So x prime making certain angle with x-axis, and now then we will have to establish what stresses are acting on this. What normal stress, sigma x prime, and what shear stress, tau x prime y prime, is acting on this plane. And then we will again cut another plane, but that plane would be cut in this direction. So we will be exposing a new surface. Let's see the procedure with the help of an example. This is example 9.1. We have been given the state of stress at a point on the surface of the airplane fuselage as represented on the element shown over here. So at this point, the state of stress is represented by represented on this element. As you can see, 80 megapascal compressive normal stress acting on this face, and then 25 megapascal acting as shear stress acting in this direction, and then we have this 50 megapascal acting on the adjacent, 50 megapascal normal stress acting on the adjacent plane, and the rest of the arrows are self-explanatory. They represent the state of stress at the point on an element that is oriented 30 degree clockwise from this position. So the new element would be oriented differently with respect to this one. That would be oriented at 30 degree clockwise from this position. So if this plane, if I represent the current orientation by, for example, this x-axis, let's say x-axis, and maybe this you can call as y-axis, and then you are required to know the state of stress at the state of stress at the same point on an element that is oriented 30 degree clockwise. So 30 degree clockwise may be this angle clockwise. So this new axis might be called as x prime axis, and so this would be your new element orientation. Let me make it a bit finer. So the rest you can complete the square. Alright, you can complete. I wanted to draw a square, but anyways, let's accept this. So this is the new element on which you are going, this is the new orientation of the element at which you are going to determine the stresses. Sigma x prime acting over here, and then tau x prime y prime acting on this face, and then similarly finding sigma y prime, stress over here, stress over here. So the rest can be established by equilibrium. And similarly, we need to know stress at this location, So once we know this stress, the rest can be established by equilibrium. All right, so sorry, the rest could be established by equilibrium. I'm not showing any arrow direction over here because we don't know the direction at the moment. Anyways, this is how the element is the element would look like, but we just need to now know these quantities: sigma x prime, tau x prime, y prime, similarly sigma y prime, and the rest is self-explanatory. So let me just go back and remove what I've drawn over here so we can see the given data properly. So now let me show you this given data. Let's remove it. So this is the new orientation of the element, 30-degree clockwise from the previous. I've drawn it separately this time. So we need to give some names to its planes. Maybe we could call this plane as AA, and maybe this plane as BB. So we'll have to know the states of stress on this plane AA and this plane BB. So in this given element, we will cut a plane first along this orientation AA, and then we will cut another plane along this orientation BB, and we will do these then we will determine the stresses acting on these planes. So one by one, let's first cut this plane AA. Let's first cut the plane AA. So this plane AA. So when you cut this plane AA, you will be having two parts of the original element, one the lower part and the other the upper part, just as you had seen over here. If this is the plane AA, and then you will be having one lower segment of the element and one the upper segment of the element. So if you draw a free body diagram of the lower segment, show the forces acting on it, and we will be able to determine stress acting on this plane. Let's say the area of this inclined plane is delta A. Now let me draw that plane, the lower element, this lower element over here. So this is that lower element, this element. Alright, this element. So I have redrawn it over here to show the forces acting on it. Now you see on this face, look, this is not a force, this is a stress acting throughout this, all over this plane. Of course this is a small distance, so consider it uniformly acting over this plane. So don't think that this force will not be a part of the equilibrium. No, part of the equilibrium forces. This will be a part of the, there will be some, some part of the plane is appearing over here. So stress on this is same. So stress acting on the whole side is 80 megapascal compressive, and even if you consider a small part of this plane, the stress acting is still at 80 megapascal, because that 80 megapascal was not a force, that was the intensity of that force. So that was in fact force per unit area. So if you have, for example, this, if this area, if this plane has, if the area of this plane is, let's say delta A, let's give it a name delta A, then the areas of the plane which are in this direction, along with this element, this is, if this is delta A, then the area of the plane, so just as I had shown you the other day, if this is the given original element and you cut a plane, you consider a plane over here, then this area is, the area of the inclined plane is delta A, and the other areas on which stress would be acting. You see, we have stress acting in on this plane, original element. We had stress acting on this face. Similarly, we have stress acting on this face. So when you cut up in this lower segment, some part of the plane will be appearing on which the same stress intensity would be acting. So if the original area, if the area of the inclined plane is delta A, then this area can be represented in terms of the inclined plane area, this area, and similarly the area of this lower, the area of this plane, all right, which is a part of the original element, this area, and this lower segment coming as a part of free body diagram. We have again some part of it. So let me now show you the same forces, the areas in over here. So if this area is delta A, if this area is delta A, before I come to the to the point that what should be this area and what should be this area, let me first show you some of the work related to angles. You know, this element, as we said, this new element is oriented 30 degree from the previous orientation. So if this was the previous orientation x-axis, then for this plane BB, this is the x prime, this would be x prime at angle of 30 degree clockwise, all right. And so similarly we have x prime for this plane. For this plane, the angle with the original orientation, with the original x-axis would be, the angle with this original would be 60 degree counterclockwise. I hope it makes sense, because you know this angle is 30 degree clockwise, so the total is 90, so this must be 60 degree counterclockwise. So this is, you know, this is the plane, this plane is AA, this is also AA, and this plane over here we have shown is also the plane AA. So this is our plane AA, making an angle of 60 degree counterclockwise with the original x-axis, all right. We have only one x-axis defined by the orientation of the given element, but for each inclined plane we have x prime, which defines the orientation of that plane. So if you have this inclined plane, it has its own x prime axis which defines the orientation of this plane. Similarly, for this plane, it has its own x prime axis which defines its orientation with respect to the horizontal 30 degree clockwise. So this is our plane AA. Let's be clear, this is our plane AA, and this is the angle 60 degree. Now if this angle is, you know, 60 degree, let me show you this over here. If this angle is 60 degree, then what do you think about this angle? You know, this angle was, you see, this angle was 60 degree, all right, and this angle was 60 degree. So what do you think about this angle? You see, if this angle is 60 degree, this angle, then this angle must also be 60 degree, all right. So if this angle is 60 degree and this whole angle is 90 degree, so this must be 30 degree. So I hope you can understand that we have an angle of 30 degree between this plane and this plane, angle between planes, all right. So now you can see that this area, this vertical plane area, this area would be equal to delta A cos of 30 degree. All right, and this area would be delta A sine of 30 degree. All right, so now you see this bottom area, this is delta A cos of 30 degree, and this area, side area appearing in your free body diagram, is delta A sine 30 degree. So this area is delta A sine 30 degree. So now we are ready to show the forces over here, because now up till now we have discussed only the areas. Now let's see what are the stresses acting on those areas. On this plane, let's not discuss this plane first. Let's discuss this plane first. On this plane you have 80 megapascal stress. All right, let's write down the stress is, let's write down the normal stress is, the normal stress acting on this is 80 megapascal, and we have also got a shear stress. So let me, I think, redraw this so we can show the forces clearly. So we are showing now we have shown the areas, and now we are going to show the stresses acting on those areas. So on this plane, the stress intensity would remain the same as the intensity on this plane. So that intensity is 80 megapascal, 50 megapascal normal tensile stress and 25 megapascal shear stress. So we have shown those stresses, 50 megapascal, 25 megapascal acting on this bottom plane, area, and then we have to show similarly stresses acting on this part of the plane, this plane, vertical one. So the same again applies here. The intensity of stresses would remain same as on the original element. So 80 megapascal compressive, and then this 25 megapascal shear stress. So we have over here 80 megapascal and 25 megapascals again. So 80 megapascal and 25 megapascal. Now finally we are going to show stresses acting on this inclined plane. Although we don't know their values, just as in a free body diagram we have some known forces, although this time we have shown only stresses by now, but of course there are some forces associated with those stresses. We are going to talk about those in the next figure, but right now we are talking about stresses only. So on this inclined plane, the stress intensity would be represented by, so this stress is sigma x prime. We have assumed it to be tensile. Keep in mind this is just an assumption. Just as while finding reactions, we don't know, when you show your reactions on free body diagram, you don't know their actual direction, you don't know their magnitude, but you just show them in certain direction, and then your final answer corrects your direction if there is anything to be corrected. So same goes over here, sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime. All right, now once we have shown stresses acting on this, on various planes of this element, it's time to show the associated forces. But just before we go to that point, let me show you what we have done. We have shown these stresses acting on this inclined plane, sigma x prime, tau x prime, y prime, and we have shown these stresses acting on this vertical and horizontal plane. You see, we have shown stresses acting on the inclined plane, and then we have shown the stresses acting on this vertical plane, and then we have shown the stresses acting on this bottom plane. What do you think about stresses acting on this plane, the front triangular plane? What do you think about this? There are zero stresses because this is a state of plane stress. So in the original element also there are only stresses acting on this face, similarly this face, and this bottom face. On this front and back faces, there are no stresses are present. So This is the reason we call it a plane stress, a state of plane stress. So no stress acting on this front and the back plane. This is a state of plane stress. So now let me show you those forces acting on such plane. And the forces acting on those planes would be obtained by multiplying, for example, multiplying this stress of 50 megapascal by the area of this plane. We have shown that this area of this plane is delta A cos of 30 degree. So this area delta A cos of 30 degree multiplied by 50 megapascal will give us force acting in this direction on this plane due to this stress. So let me next show you those forces. So these are the areas we have shown, these are the stresses that we have shown, and now we are going to convert them into forces. So simply stress multiplied by area would give us the corresponding force. So let me first show you draw those forces, and I'll show you those forces now. So let's start with this stress. This stress 50 megapascal is acting over an area of delta A cos 30 degrees. So the force associated with this will become, 50 delta A cos of 30 degree. Similarly, this 25 megapascal stress is acting over an area of delta A cos of 30. So the associated force over here will be 25 delta A cos of 30. So similarly, I'll complete the rest of the figure. Just to make the distinction easy, I've shown the these shear stresses as in green and the normal stresses in blue, so you can easily figure out. So I've completed the force diagram by multiplying each stress with the corresponding area. So in this you can see that this is the force and this is the area. Similarly, over here this is the force and this was the area. Again over here this was the force, this was the area, this was the force, this was the area, and similarly this is the force and this is the area. Force multiplied by area. So this way we have completed this force diagram. Now three-body diagram is complete. What do you do next? You apply equilibrium conditions. Applying equilibrium conditions. So what equilibrium conditions? What are the unknowns? Let's talk about the unknown. The unknowns are sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime. This is what the unknowns are in in case of a plane stress problem. Sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime. These are, of course, we will be going to sigma y prime in our next step, but right now we are finding for each plane we have, for each plane there is on the original plane we have sigma x and tau xy, and on the inclined plane we have sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime. So if we do this for two planes, we will be getting the complete element, state of stress on the complete element. But so this is the sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime, which are the unknowns in this equation. So keeping the unknowns in mind, apply equilibrium conditions. So summation of all forces in x prime direction and summation of all forces in y prime directions. You need to resolve all forces acting on this plane along the x prime and y prime direction, so you can apply the equilibrium conditions. So the equilibrium conditions that we are going to apply are summation fx prime equal to 0 and summation fy prime equal to 0. So for that we need to resolve all forces acting over here along x prime and y prime direction. So again, the basic principle remains same. In order to resolve a force, you need to know its angle with certain reference, so that you can resolve it into components. So I hope you can do this part yourself. So before resolving the forces to their components along x prime and y prime direction, let's first have a recall of the angles. This is our plane AA, this is its x prime, Look at this. This is our plane AA. This is our x prime for this plane AA, making an angle of 60 degree with original x-axis. And naturally, if this angle is 60 degree, then the angle with original vertical would be 30 degree. So using this information, I think we can resolve these forces into their components along x prime and y prime direction. So look at these forces and resolve them along x prime and y prime directions. So start. Let's first show the angles again over here for convenience, so that we don't have to scroll up and down all the time. So if, let's say, this was the origin, if this was the, this is the x prime, positive x prime direction. So these are the angles. This is x prime making an angle of 60 degree with original x-axis, and this is, the angle between x prime and y would certainly be then 30 degree, because total is 90 degree. So using this information, let's start resolving. First talk about, let's 50 delta A cos of 30 degree. Let's talk about this force. Now this force has, so here is the force 50 delta A cos of 30 degree, this force, and I have shown for reference the x prime and y prime axis. This is the rightward x prime, this is, positive x prime, this is positive y prime direction. And now we are going to know, for example, we know the angle between x prime and vertical to be 30 degrees. So we know that this, between x prime and vertical, we have an angle of 30 degree. So again, if you consider these lines, if this angle is 30 degree, then on this side also this angle will be 30 degree. So this angle must be then 30 degree. So once you know the angle 30 degree, now you can simply resolve it into components. This component will be force magnitude 50 delta A cos 30 into cos of 30. So this is, this is the original vector, and cos 30, because this is, we are finding this component. Similarly, this is original vector magnitude, and this is because we are finding its component in the y prime direction, so sine 30 degree. So using this method, you can complete the resolution of other forces, making sure that you are correctly resolving each force into its components along x prime and y prime direction. So let's complete. Next, 25 delta A cos of 30 degree, this force. So we have drawn this force over here, and now we are going to resolve it into components along x prime and y prime. So these are the reference axes, x prime and y prime axis. I have shown them along their positive directions, x prime and y prime. Next, this angle is 60 degree. So I have this. So we have seen that if this angle was 60 degree, then this angle must be 30 degree. If this angle is 60, this must be 30. Now using this angle, we can resolve again. This would be the cos 30, and this will become sine 30, same magnitude sine 30. The reason I'm working in terms of angle 30 and not 60 degree is because the original statement contains the angle 30 degree. So we want to work down in terms of 30 degree. This will help us in the next step, in the next topic. This will help us generalize the equations for sigma x prime and y prime in terms of the given angle 30 degree, for which by which we have to orient the element 30 degree clockwise. So this was 30 degree clockwise. Anyways, so next let's resolve this force 80 delta A sine 30 degree. So let's reproduce it over here and draw its components. So if you see, although this was a normal force, normal compressive force, but right now its direction is rightward. The direction of this this green force, shear force, then 25 delta A cos of 30 was also rightward. So just as this was resolved, this will also be resolved, with the difference that this has a different magnitude and this had a different magnitude. So look at this 25 delta A cos of 30 degree, it was resolved along these components in this way, and very same way You see this just difference, that this green is just a difference as green is replaced by blue, and it will have its own blue magnitude. The rest of the resolution will be same. So let's use this working over here also. So this is how the final components would look like. This angle is 30 degrees. So you see this, these are again, force and their components. So this was the original vector, and this is because we have resolved it into its component along this direction. So similarly, this was the original magnitude, original vector magnitude, and this is its component because its component along this direction. So we have resolved 25 delta A sine 30 degree, this force, into components along x prime and y prime. This was the angle between vertical and x prime. Angle between vertical and x prime was 30 degrees. So we reproduce this angle 30 degree over here. So this is the component along x prime direction, and this is the component along y prime direction. So now we are ready to apply these two equilibrium equations, because now all of the forces have been resolved into components along their x prime and y prime directions. So now let's apply equilibrium conditions. So now let's apply equilibrium conditions. Summation of all forces along x prime direction equal to 0, and let's treat positive x prime direction, take positive along this direction. Along this direction we are taking positive. So let's start with the forces. So we can start from, for example, this point and go in certain direction, maybe this direction or this direction. Best way is to, you can go either this way or that way, but once you start in certain direction, don't miss any force that occurs in this x prime direction that has a component. Don't miss any component along x prime direction. So once you start, you will be going like this. Sigma x prime delta A will first write down this component, and then over here we have a component of, we have this component, although the negative x prime direction, so it will have a negative sign with it, and then we will have another component over here, and then we will go to this next plane, this vertical plane. Over here we have, this component acting along x prime, and then for this shear force 25 delta sine 30, we have this component acting along x prime direction. In this way we will be able to make sure that no force has been missed out. So let's write down the equilibrium condition. So here is the equilibrium condition, equilibrium equation. Now you need to solve this equation later for this sigma x prime, sigma x prime. Now if you see, this delta A term is appearing in every equation. So if you can take it common, and you can take it out common, and this will disappear from equation. You can understand this, I hope. So if you solve this equation for sigma x prime, this becomes minus 4.15 megapascal. Now what does this negative sign tell you? This negative sign tell you that you assumed sigma x prime acting in the away from this plane in this direction, but actually it is acting towards this plane. So you assumed it to be tensile. The answer turned out to be a -1. So it means the actual stress acting over here is compressive 4.15 megapascal. Similarly, we can write down equation along sigma y prime direction, summation of forces along y prime directions along this direction, and treating this direction as positive upward direction, not exactly upward, but rising direction. All right. So we can write down this equation again. Delta A will appear constantly and uniformly in all terms, so you can cancel it out and you can find out this answer, tau x prime y prime. Now this answer is positive. What does it mean? That this assumed direction of tau x prime y prime, this direction, is correct. It is really acting along positive y prime direction. So that's fine. So we have determined these stresses, sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime, acting on this plane AA. Now this plane AA is over here in the element, in the rotated element. So you will show these forces, these stresses acting on this face of the rotated element, this face, AA. Exactly this face, no other face, alright? Because only this face has angle of 60 degree, which is the same angle as, for the AA plane that we considered. So let us show those stresses acting on the element on the given face. So this is that rotated element, and these are the stresses that we have just determined. So this was the rotated element. This was the face making angle whose x prime was making angle of 60 degree. Let me also elaborate this over here also. The normal would make angle of 60 degree. The x prime of this face would make angle of 60 degree counterclockwise with the original x-axis. So these are the stresses, 4.15 megapascal and 68.8 megapascal. So we have started, we had started with cutting a plane AA whose normal was making 60 degree counterclockwise angle with the original x-axis. Next we need to cut a plane BB perpendicular to AA, cut a plane BB perpendicular to perpendicular to the previous plane, and this time we will be drawing this part of this element. This I'm going to draw it in blue for you. This element, you will pick this element, sorry for this auto. This will be BB plane, the inclined plane, this time delta A, and these will be the other two planes. This will be the inclined plane BB, part of this plane BB, just as you had a plane AA. This time you would have a plane BB whose normal would be making an angle of 30 degree with the original x-axis, and then you will be using the same procedure as we discussed for when we had cut AA plane. So using that procedure you can reach results which I'm just going to write down those results, so that you can so you would do it yourself. I hope I have taken enough time explaining one part, and since the other part would follow the same procedure. What I mean by same procedure: figure out the angles, figure out the areas, figure out the stresses, show the forces, draw, then resolve them into components along x prime, y prime, apply equilibrium conditions, and find out those sigma x prime and tau x prime, y prime. So later you can just show those forces acting on that plane, on this element, this angle. Make sure you draw them finally on the right face of the rotated element. This face, only this face, is making angle of 30 degree clockwise, so which is the same angle which your cut plane is making, this angle with not the cut plane itself, sorry, but the normal to the cut plane. All right, so this plane is the same as this plane. Why I'm repeating this? Because you should not be drawing the stresses that you determine on this plane. Let me elaborate it over here. This was the plane that you had cut. This was the BB plane. This BB plane was making an angle of 30 degree. This angle is 30 degree. Its x prime is making angle of 30 degree. Let me show you it on the page. So this is what I was trying to explain. This would be your cutting plane, and you will be drawing free body diagram for this part. See this part, which is shown over here. So this would be delta A, and again you can proceed in the manner we have already discussed. So I wanted to show you that you see this BB plane, is making its x prime. This time each plane has its own x prime, which defines its orientation. This is the key point. This is the original x-axis orientation. So it makes an angle of 30-degree clockwise. This normal to the plane x prime makes an angle of 30-degree clockwise with the original x-axis. So in your plane, in your element, which has these four planes, you will be showing them on this plane, not on this plane. Let me show you why. This angle is the x prime of this plane is over here, making an angle of 30-degree clockwise. You see the same angle as this plane is making. So the stresses that you determine on this plane would be drawn on this BB plane, on this plane, and not on this plane, because if you see for the other plane, this plane, the x prime is in this direction, and its x prime is making an angle of this is, I think, how much, 150 degree. This angle is 150 degree. So why would you show stresses that you determine on a plane having whose x prime is at 30 degree from x-axis? Why would you show those stresses acting on a plane having a 150 degree angle? Of course that would not make any sense. So you will show those stresses acting over here. So the final result as determined by R.C. Hibbeler in the book is this result, sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime, minus 25.8 megapascal and minus 68.8 megapascal. Now sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime, you have got two answers again over here. These are again for your new plane BB. So you will be showing these stresses. Let's copy down the answers. Let's copy down the calculations rather to our page and then show them on our planes. Let me bring them over here. All right. So these are the calculations that you would be performing. So this answer 25.8 megapascal, if it is negative, it means this would be, you would have assumed it outward from this plane and it actually would be acting inward. So this 25 sorry, I beg your pardon, 25.8 megapascal would be acting over here, and again this was the positive x prime direction, and always once you have x or x prime direction, you go 90 degree counterclockwise to go to the either x or to the y or y prime direction. So if this is your x prime direction, y prime is always in counterclockwise 90 degree direction. So this is your y prime direction. So x prime and y prime for this plane, x prime normal to the plane, y prime tangential to the plane, x prime outward positive, and y prime from x prime it is counterclockwise 90 degrees. So x prime and y prime. So 25.8 megapascal, this was the normal stress that you determined. You found later on that this was compressive, so you showed it inward, towards the plane. And as far as this result is concerned, minus 68.8 megapascal, you would have shown it acting in this direction, acting in along x and along positive y prime direction, but it turns out to be a negative answer, this negative answer. So in that case you need to change your, correct the direction. Better to say correct the direction. Sorry, this was not, this is not the calculation. These are the calculations for AA. These are the calculations over here. This is a BB plane, and you had assumed sigma x prime acting outward. You found out that this was a negative answer, so you had to show it inward, acting inward on towards the plane. And then this tau x prime y prime was assumed acting along y prime direction, positive y prime direction. The answer was negative, so you had to correct the direction. So this is how the final answer would be, showing the tau x prime y prime acting along negative y prime direction. So this would be 68.8 megapascal, your tau x prime y prime. Now once you are showing these stresses on a plane, for example showing this 25.8 megapascal, this is your x prime, you are showing the 25.8 megapascal opposite to it, then you don't need to write the negative sign, because this was the negative sign was just telling the direction, and you have shown the direction, so there is no point in showing the having a algebraic sign over here. So again, similarly over here, once you are drawing this, once you have shown the direction of 68.8 megapascal shear stress, you have written the magnitude and you have shown the direction with the help of an arrow, so you don't need any algebraic sign over here. All right, so a vector has two characteristics, a magnitude and direction. That's all you have shown graphically. So once you are showing it only, when you are not showing it graphically, then you need to have a positive or negative sign. So finally, final answers should not be containing either a positive or a negative sign. Final answer should have a magnitude and a direction. So these stresses will be shown, acting on this face. This is what I have already discussed. So this will be 25.8 megapascal compressive, and this will be 68.8 megapascal shear stress, and the rest can be established by equilibrium. Just show the directions, the magnitudes are understood. So this would be this was acting in this direction, and see, some of the auto functions are sometimes problematic. Let's show the directions this way. All right, opposite to this direction, 68.8 megapascal acting in this direction, so this must be acting in the opposite direction. And as far as this one is concerned, if this was 4.15 megapascal compressive in this direction, so this must also be compressive 4.15. No, don't need to write down the magnitude again, because it is understood this would be 4.15 megapascal, and then this sign would be opposite to this sign. Although we only as far as the shear normal stresses are concerned, you need to work out 4.15 megapascal on this face, and on this you can establish by equilibrium, but you need to calculate this. All right, for this plane again, you need to work out on one of these planes, and the other can be found. So you had to determine this. But once you have found the shear stress acting on this plane, 68.8 megapascal, this information alone is enough to draw the rest of the diagram. Why? Recall the concept of, this is understood. This you can easily understand. If this is 68.8 megapascal, this has to be opposite. And why? What about these two? These two are the complementary shear stresses. They had to have same magnitude as their companion stresses. This 68.8 megapascal, same magnitude, but they had to have their signs dictated by equilibrium. So if this was 68.8 megapascal in this direction, this must be in the opposite direction. Now these two are producing a moment in this direction, net moment. These two shear stresses are responsible to produce moment in the opposite direction, so as to keep the moment equilibrium satisfied. So their directions are dictated by equilibrium. One quick tip that we had used was, once you know this vector, draw opposite to it, and then draw the rest of the two joining the heads of the previous two. This one joining this head, and this one joining this one's head. So you can easily complete. This was just a tip. The concept is what we have already discussed. So I hope you can understand this. In this particular problem, we had some numerical values. We had some numerical values for the stresses. This stress was 80 megapascal compressive, this was 50 megapascal tensile, and this was 25 megapascal acting in this direction. We could generalize these results. Yes, we could generalize these results. How? Instead of using specific values over here, like you see with 80 megapascal, you can see, we can generalize this. How do we do that? Let me show you in a while. So next you can generalize those equations. So general equations for plane stress transformation. So in this case, let's first discuss a sign convention. The sign convention that we are going to use is, so each plane will be defined by the orientation of its normal. So positive x and positive x prime, they are used to define the outward normal on the right hand face of the element. So you will be, working primarily with the right hand face of the element. This is how we're going to simplify the process, because some of them can be, most of these stresses can be established later on by equilibrium. So we will be focusing right on the right face of the element, this right hand face of the element. On the right hand face of the element, this is positive x prime, positive x axis, and on the same element, when rotated, this face is now over here. So this face changed to this one, and accordingly the rest of the faces are over here. So we will follow, instead of saying that the whole element, of course the whole element is rotating by a certain angle with respect to the previous. So this whole element has rotated overall with respect to the previous one, but better fix one side and see its orientation with respect to the original. So if the original x was over here, the x prime for the same face is now at plus theta degree, right? So next, what we describe is the sign convention. So when stress is acting along positive x-axis, it is called positive sigma x. When it is acting along positive x prime axis, it is called positive x prime x, positive sigma x prime. Of course, this is simple. Positive sigma x along positive x axis, positive sigma x prime x along positive x prime axis. How about shear stresses? Shear stresses, we again are having a coordinate system based equilibrium, coordinate system based sign convention. This is the x face, and this is the reason you have the first subscript as x, but it is acting along y, maybe along y or opposite to y, so that we have another sign symbol over here, which is y. We will be considering tau xy positive if it is acting along positive y axis. All right. Similarly, tau x prime y prime will be considered positive if it is acting along positive y prime axis. Now, finally, just recall that this is a right hand. We are using right-handed coordinate system. Whether x, y, z is outward from the screen. X prime y prime and z is again outward from the screen. So angle is considered positive if it follows the curl of your finger. What does it mean? Angle is considered positive in the counterclockwise direction. All right, counterclockwise angle we will be treating as positive. So using these sign conventions, we have cut a plane over here. So this normal is making an angle of, this x prime is making an angle of theta degree with the original x-axis. So we will be determining stresses on this sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime. These stresses, sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime, and then you can convert them into forces, keeping account of all forces acting on this element. Just the same procedure as we discussed for our numerical problem. And then you can finally write down general equations for sigma x prime in terms of theta, and similarly tau x prime y prime in terms of theta. Just simplified, these two expressions have been used as simplified using some trigonometric identities, and then you can reach these results. This set of equations, sigma x prime and tau x prime y prime, sigma x, sigma y and tau xy are known to you. These are the stresses acting on the original element, and theta is the angle by which the new element has been oriented. We have just discussed what is theta. So this would be giving you tau x prime y prime for this. You will be getting them for any plane. Every plane has its own x prime y prime axis. This is something important. This plane has its x prime and y prime acting in these directions, and any other plane, for example, if you talk about maybe this was the x prime and y prime that we discussed. X prime, y prime for this element. This phase is the same as this phase, so it's x prime, y prime. These results apply. So यहाँ पे जो अब रिजल्ट आएंगे सिग्मा x prime और सिग्मा x prime और टाई x prime y prime के, इनको आप इस फेस पे शो करेंगे क्योंकि इसी फेस का एंगल थीटा है. ऑलराइट, सो यहाँ पे अब जब आपके पास रिजल्ट्स आएंगे यहाँ पुट करके इस फेस पे आपने शो कर लेने. लेकिन अब आपके पास जब आप न्यूमेरिकल प्रॉब्लम कर रहे होंगे, आप ये दो इक्वेशंस अप्लाई करेंगे, आपके पास एक ये रिजल्ट आ जाएगा, एक ये रिजल्ट आ जाएगा. आप इस शेयर की मदद से बाकी चारों शेयर तो प्लॉट कर सकते हैं, लेकिन इसकी मदद से आप ये तो प्लॉट कर लेंगे, ये आपको अलग से कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा सिग्मा वाई प्राइम. ठीक है, इसके लिए आप क्या करेंगे, इस प्लेन का अपना जो एक्स प्राइम है, ठीक है, इसका अपना एक्स प्राइम, उसका एंगल आपने देखना है वो कितना होगा, थीटा प्लस 90 डिग्री. यानी अगर ये एंगल इस प्लेन का जो एक्स प्राइम है, अगर वो एंगल थीटा बना रहा था, राइट फेस है ये, वही राइट फेस जो हम शुरू में बात कर रहे थे, ये वाला राइट फेस. ठीक, ये राइट फेस, हम राइट फेस के रेफरेंस से वर्किंग कर रहे हैं. तो इस राइट फेस का जो एंगल है, इसका जो एक्स प्राइम का एंगल अगर वो थीटा है, तो इसका एडजेसेंट वाला जो है ये वाला, इस वाले की बात कर रहा हूँ, तो ये इसका एंगल कितना होगा, उसी डायरेक्शन में आप 90 डिग्री और आगे चले जाएंगे, थीटा प्लस 90 डिग्री. सो अगर ये मसलन 30 डिग्री था तो ये 120 डिग्री हो जाएगा. अब यहाँ पे इसी इक्वेशन में आप थीटा की जगह 120 डिग्री पुट करेंगे, तो आपके पास जो आंसर आएगा वो इसके अलोंग, यहाँ पे आल दो वाई प्राइम लिखा हुआ है, लेकिन इसको यहाँ नहीं, यहाँ पे बेहतर लिखा जाए, यहाँ पे ये वाई प्राइम इस प्लेन का वाई प्राइम है. ठीक है, ये जो वाई प्राइम लिखा हुआ है ये इस प्लेन के एक्स प्राइम और वाई प्राइम थे. इस प्लेन का अपना ये एक्स प्राइम और ये वाई प्राइम. ठीक है, सो आपके पास जो आंसर आएंगे इस प्लेन के लिए, जिसके लिए एंगल आपका 30 प्लस 90 यानी 120 डिग्री होगा, अगर मसलन थीटा 130 डिग्री हो, तो ये जो 120 डिग्री का एंगल यहाँ पुट करके आंसर्स आएंगे, ये वाला नॉर्मल स्ट्रेस, ये वाला शेयर स्ट्रेस, ये आपने इस प्लेन के ऊपर ड्रॉ करना है. ये इसका एक्स प्राइम और ये इसका वाई प्राइम. सही है. अगर आपने मसलन इस प्लेन पे इन्हें फाइंड आउट करने की अब ज़रूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि आप इक्विलिब्रियम से एस्टेब्लिश कर सकते हैं. लेकिन फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप मतलब जस्ट करना चाह रहे थे इस प्लेन पे करना, तो इस प्लेन का ये प्लेन है, इसका अपना ये एक्स प्राइम होगा, इसका एंगल विद ओरिजिनल एक्स एक्सिस. अब वो आप इस तरफ से जाएं तो पॉजिटिव, इस तरफ से जाएं तो नेगेटिव, आप जो भी एंगल लिखना चाहें, मसलन प्लस 210 या माइनस 150. आई थिंक दिस इज हाउ इट वुड बी माइनस, अब जितना भी बनता है, मतलब ये 210 डिग्री प्लस 210 डिग्री कह लें, या यस, या माइनस 150 डिग्री कह लें. ठीक, तो इस तरह से आप इस प्लेन के लिए आप एंगल, यानी हर प्लेन का अपना एंगल है, अपना उसका एक्स प्राइम और वाई प्राइम है. दिस व्हाट आई वांटेड टू से. सो जस्ट हैव अ क्विक लुक एट दिस एग्जांपल. ये वही एग्जांपल है जो अभी हमने 9.1 में कर ली. वहाँ आपने जनरल इक्वेशंस नहीं यूज़ की, वहाँ हमने जो बेसिक प्रोसीजर है इक्विलिब्रियम मेथड, उससे हमने सॉल्व किया. वही प्रॉब्लम अब हम जनरल इक्वेशंस को यूज़ करके सॉल्व करते. तो हमें ये सिग्मा एक्स माइनस 80 मेगापास्कल, ये हमने माइनस क्यों लिखा, हमारी साइन कन्वेंशन ये है कि हमारे पास एक्स एंगल जो है, एक्स जो है वो आउटवर्ड फ्रॉम दिस है, पॉजिटिव एक्स जो है वो आउटवर्ड फ्रॉम दिस प्लेन है. तो हमारा पॉजिटिव एक्स आउटवर्ड था और ये 80 मेगापास्कल का स्ट्रेस इसके अपोजिट एक्ट कर रहा है, इसलिए माइनस 80. या आप सिंपली कह लें कि ये कॉम्प्रेसिव है. इसी तरह ये, लेकिन असल में बात यही है जो मैंने बात की, कॉम्प्रेसिव तो हमें बाद में समझ आ गई ना कि इनवर्ट है तो ये कॉम्प्रेसिव है. असल में ये माइनस क्यों है, बिकॉज इट इज़ अपोजिट टू पॉजिटिव एक्स प्राइम, पॉजिटिव एक्स एक्सिस. पॉजिटिव एक्स एक्सिस के अपोजिट होने की वजह से ये माइनस 80 है. यानी वी आर ट्रीटिंग दिस फोर्सेज, यानी जब हम साइन कन्वेंशन में जाते हैं तो हमें कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम के अंदर इन फोर्सेज को लाइक एक्सटर्नल फोर्सेज के तौर पे लेना पड़ता है, इस तरह से कंसिडर करके लेना पड़ता है, फिर जाके हम कोई कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम बेस्ड साइन कन्वेंशन लगा सकते हैं. ठीक, तो ये माइनस 80 इसलिए कहलाया कि ये पॉजिटिव एक्स के अपोजिट है. ये 25 मेगापास्कल, हम राइट फेस के हिसाब से सारी वर्किंग कर रहे हैं. ठीक, ये 25 मेगापास्कल का शेयर स्ट्रेस पॉजिटिव है या नेगेटिव है, इसको जानने के लिए आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि आपका पॉजिटिव वाई प्राइम, सॉरी पॉजिटिव वाई है किधर. पॉजिटिव एक्स ये है, पॉजिटिव वाई ये है, तो पॉजिटिव वाई के अपोजिट होने की वजह से ये भी -25 मेगापास्कल. और इस जगह अगर आ जाए, ये आपका 50 मेगा पास्कल का स्ट्रेस, ये अगेन टेंसाइल है, आप सिंपली ये समझ लें 50 मेगा पास्कल एक्ट कर रही है। आप यूँ समझ लें कि इस प्लेन का जो अपना आउटवर्ड नॉर्मल होगा उसी नॉर्मल के अलॉन्ग ये एक्ट कर रहा है, आउटवर्ड नॉर्मल के अलॉन्ग, सो इसलिए ये पॉजिटिव 50 मेगा पास्कल। सो ये सिग्मा एक्स, सिग्मा वाई और टा एक्स वाई ये गिवन है आपको, और आपने फाइंड क्या करना है, सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम, सिग्मा वाई प्राइम और टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम। उसके लिए आपको एक एंगल बता दिया गया होगा, वो 30 डिग्री क्लॉकवाइज आपको एंगल बताया गया था, ठीक है। तो 30 डिग्री क्लॉकवाइज वाला एलिमेंट ये है, ये जो प्लेन है, ये वाला प्लेन ये है, ठीक। ये वाला प्लेन अब ये बन गया, रोटेट हो गया, यानी ये पूरा एलिमेंट जो है वो अब रोटेट होके ऐसे, ये ऐसे बन गया। इसका अब इसकी ओरिएंटेशन जो वर्टिकल थी वो अब ऐसे हो गई। सो ये प्लेन इधर आ गया, सी डी प्लेन जो नज़र आ रहा है आपको। सो इसका एंगल ये है 30 डिग्री क्लॉकवाइज, तो इसलिए हमने इसके साथ -30 डिग्री लिखा। वैसे जब आप साइन शो कर रहे हो, ये रोटेशन का साइन डाल रहे हो, तो फिर माइनस ना भी लिखें तो भी ठीक है, लेकिन चूंकि हमने इसको न्यूमेरिकल प्रॉब्लम में यानी अपनी इक्वेशन में इंसर्ट करना था थीटा की जगह पे, तो इसलिए हमने इसको -30 पहले से लिख लिया है, ठीक। जब हम यहाँ पुट करेंगे तो विद अलजेब्रिक साइन पुट करेंगे। तो ये क्लॉकवाइज था इसलिए -30 पुट किया, ठीक। ये डिग्रीज़ में है आपके एंगल, तो एंगल भी आप यहाँ पुट भी डिग्रीज़ में कर रहे होंगे, कैलकुलेटर आपका डिग्रीज़ में होना चाहिए। सो ये -25.8 मेगा पास्कल आंसर आया। इसी तरह टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम -68.8 मेगा पास्कल आंसर है। ये आंसर किस प्लेन के लिए आए हैं, इस प्लेन के लिए, मैं फिर रिपीट कर रहा हूँ, इस प्लेन पे आंसर्स आए तो इसी प्लेन पे शो किए जाएंगे। ये -25.8 मेगा पास्कल विल बी शोन अपोजिट टू, एक्टिंग इन अपोजिट डायरेक्शन टू पॉजिटिव एक्स प्राइम यानी इनवर्ड, और ये -68.8 मेगा पास्कल ये भी एक्टिंग अपोजिट टू पॉजिटिव वाई प्राइम यानी इस डायरेक्शन में, यहाँ पे आपको नजर आ रहा होगा 25.8 मेगा पास्कल एक्टिंग इन opposite to positive x prime और 68.8 megapascal acting again opposite to positive y prime। ये आपने अभी ये जो कैलकुलेशंस की हैं ये अभी इस प्लेन पे आपने शो कर ली हैं, इस प्लेन के लिए ये कैलकुलेशंस थी। इस प्लेन के लिए आपको दोबारा से एक अलग एंगल, इस प्लेन का अलग x प्राइम है ना, उसका अपनी एक ओरिएंटेशन है, उसका एंगल +60 डिग्री है, ठीक है, इस वाले प्लेन का, BC प्लेन का। सो ये +60 डिग्री है, तो आप काउंटर क्लॉकवाइज 60 डिग्री है, तो आप इसको थीटा इक्वल टू +60 डिग्री शो कर लेंगे। सो यहाँ पे +60 आपने पुट किया और यहाँ भी +60 पुट किया। सो आपके पास दोनों आंसर्स आ गए। ये सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम अगेन अब -4.15 मेगा पास्कल आया, ये कहाँ पे एक्ट कर रहा है, यहाँ पे अब एक्ट करेगा अगेन अपोजिट टू पॉजिटिव एक्स प्राइम एक्सिस। इसी तरह ये पॉजिटिव आया है, इसका मतलब है कि इस प्लेन का जो पॉजिटिव वाई प्राइम है उसके अलॉन्ग ये एक्ट करेगा, यानी यहाँ पे 68.8 मेगा पास्कल पॉजिटिव आने का मतलब है कि अब इस प्लेन के ऊपर ये अलॉन्ग पॉजिटिव वाई प्राइम एक्ट करेगा। दो ही पॉसिबिलिटीज है ना, एक अलॉन्ग पॉजिटिव वाई प्राइम एक्ट कर सकता था और ये या नेगेटिव वाई प्राइम के अलॉन्ग। तो पॉजिटिव आंसर का मतलब है इट एक्ट्स अलॉन्ग पॉजिटिव वाई प्राइम एक्सिस। तो इन दो प्लेन्स के लिए आपने वर्किंग की और बाकियों का आपने इक्विलिब्रियम शो किया। वैसे इसका हमें पता है, ये वाला तो हम वैसे भी, ये वाला शेयर स्ट्रेस, ये तो हम जब ये पता चल गया शेयर स्ट्रेस तो उसको हम वैसे भी इस्टेब्लिश कर सकते थे, ये वाला इसके अपोजिट ये और बाद में ये कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री, ये हम वैसे भी इस्टेब्लिश कर सकते हैं। लेकिन ये हमारा आंसर काइंड ऑफ ये वाला आंसर और ये वाला आंसर एक दूसरे को बैक कर रहे हैं, एक दूसरे को कंफर्म कर रहे हैं, ठीक। सो यही बात यहाँ पे लिखी गई, यू कैन रीड इट योरसेल्फ। ये हमारी बात थी कि हम किसी भी, ये हमने यहाँ पे जो इक्वेशंस फाइंड किए हैं ये हमें किसी भी एंगल थीटा के ऊपर नॉर्मल और शेयर स्ट्रेसेस दे रहा है। तो जाहिर है अब ये सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम फंक्शन है थीटा का, ये टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम फंक्शन है थीटा का। तो थीटा के अगर आप डिफरेंट वैल्यूज ट्राई करते जाएंगे तो सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम के डिफरेंट आंसर्स आते जाएंगे। मैं अभी फिलहाल सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम की बात कर रहा हूँ, नॉर्मल स्ट्रेस की बात कर रहा हूँ। तो एक कोई ना कोई प्लेन ऐसा आएगा, कोई ना कोई थीटा की वैल्यू ऐसी होगी जिसके लिए ये जो आंसर आएगा वो एक एब्सोल्यूट वो एक लोकल मिनिमम या लोकल मैक्सिमम आंसर होगा। वो जो डेरिवेटिव वाला कॉन्सेप्ट है, इसका मतलब है अगर आप इस इक्वेशन को डेरिवेट कर दे विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दिस इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल थीटा, यानी अगर आप डेरिवेटिव निकालें डी बाई डी थीटा ऑफ सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम, तो आपके पास जो और उसको इक्वेट करें टू ज़ीरो, उस डेरिवेटिव को इक्वेट करें टू ज़ीरो, वो जो आपने बहुत दफ़ा ये पढ़ा चुका हूँ, ये आप जब हम मोमेंट ऑफ इनर्शिया को डिस्कस कर रहे थे ऑन एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम, यानी जब हम ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ मोमेंट ऑफ इनर्शिया डिस्कस कर रहे थे वहाँ भी इस तरह की इक्वेशंस को हम बार बार डिस्कस कर चुके हैं। तो आई थिंक दोबारा से डिटेल में करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, आप उसको खुद देख लीजिएगा। तो आप अगर इसको डी बाई डी थीटा ऑफ सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम करें और उसको वो जो आंसर आएगा यानी इसका डेरिवेटिव का जो आंसर होगा डी बाई डी थीटा ऑफ दिस एक्सप्रेशन, उसको इक्वल टू 0 करें तो वहाँ से जो थीटा का आंसर आएगा दैट विल बी अ स्पेशल वैल्यू ऑफ थीटा। ठीक है, लेट मी शो यू दिस व्हाट आई वाज सेइंग। अगर आप इस इक्वेशन को देखें और इस इक्वेशन को अगर आप डेरिवेटिव लें विद रिस्पेक्ट टू थीटा, तो यहाँ पे जब आप डेरिवेटिव ले रहे होंगे तो या इस साइड पे जो एक्सप्रेशंस आ रही होंगी इनमें जो थीटा की वैल्यू होगी दैट विल बी स्पेशल वैल्यू ऑफ थीटा, थीटा पी। ठीक है, अगर आप यहाँ से थीटा पी फाइंड आउट करें, ठीक है, थीटा पी को यानी सोल्यूशन निकालें, इक्वेशन को सॉल्व करें फॉर थीटा पी, तो वो इक्वेशंस इस फॉर्म में आएगी जो आपको यहाँ नज़र आ रही है, ये वाली इक्वेशन। ठीक है, ये वाली इक्वेशन यानी ज़ाहिर है वो थीटा पी इक्वल टू समथिंग तो नहीं लिखा होगा ना। थीटा पी तो एक ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक यानी फंक्शन है, तो वो ज़ाहिर है साइन कॉस टैन इनका कोई ये इनके अंदर जाके अपीयर हो रहा होगा ना, इनके अंदर एम्बेडेड होगा। तो मसलन यहाँ पे आपके पास इस फॉर्म में एक्सप्रेशन आ जाएगा। इससे आपके पास अगेन अब ये ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक फंक्शन है, इसमें ये पीरियाडिक फंक्शन है, इसके डिफरेंट इंटरवल्स के ऊपर दोबारा से सोल्यूशन रिपीट होना शुरू होते हैं। तो ये कॉन्सेप्ट आप पहले पढ़ चुके हैं। तो यहाँ से आपके पास थीटा पी की दो वैल्यूज़ आ रही होंगी, एटलीस्ट दो वैल्यूज़ आ रही होंगी। ठीक, मसलन आप ऐसे जब आप टेन टू यहाँ पे आप वैल्यूज़ पुट कर सकते हैं ना, मसलन टा एक्स वाई, ये तो आपके पास नॉन वैल्यूज़ हैं। तो आपके पास अभी मैं एक एग्जाम्पल के थ्रू इसको एलेबरेट करूँगा, लेकिन मैं आपको ये बताना चाह रहा हूँ कि इसका दो आंसर्स आ रहे होंगे। बेसिकली एक आंसर जो है उसके ऊपर आपका एक आंसर थीटा पी का करस्पॉन्ड करेगा मिनिमम सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम के, या मिनिमम नॉर्मल स्ट्रेस पे, और दूसरा जो आंसर आ रहा होगा दैट विल करस्पॉन्ड टू मैक्सिमम सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम। अभी आपको ये नहीं पता है कि कौन सा मिनिमम है कौन सा मैक्सिमम है, आपको ये पता है कि इसके ऊपर कोई लोकल मिनिमम या मैक्सिमम आ रहा है। अब वो मिनिमम है या मैक्सिमम है ये आपको अभी नहीं पता। ये आप कैसे पता कर सकते हैं? इस थीटा पी की जो वैल्यूज दो आपके पास रूट्स आ गए हैं, ये आप पुट कर दें इनटू दिस इक्वेशन। मसलन एक रूट मैंने उठाया यहाँ से और यहाँ पुट कर दिया, फिर मैंने दूसरा रूट उठाया और यहाँ पुट कर दिया। ठीक, थीटा पी की दूसरी वैल्यू। अब जो दो वैल्यूज आ रही हैं उससे पता चल जाएगा कि कौन सी वैल्यू मैक्सिमम है और कौन सी वैल्यू मिनिमम है। ये जो मैक्सिमम और मिनिमम है अलजेब्रिक साइन को इंक्लूड करके, मसलन अगर एक समझ रहे ना, अगर एक सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम आ रहा है, सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम फॉर वन वैल्यू ऑफ थीटा पी, मैं उसको अभी कुछ भी कह दूँ, थीटा बार कुछ नहीं कह रहा अभी फिलहाल, नाम एक डॉट लगा रहा हूँ। ठीक, पहली वाली वैल्यू थीटा पी की वो आपको आंसर दे दे -2 मेगापास्कल, और दिस सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम की जो दूसरी सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम फॉर अनदर वैल्यू ऑफ थीटा पी, मैं अभी 2 डॉट लगा रहा हूँ सेकंड वैल्यू के लिए, वो आंसर दे दे 5। ये मिनिमम है, ये मैक्सिमम है, ये मुराद है मेरी। ठीक है, या मसलन अगर ये आया होता लेट्स से -2 की जगह ये आया होता -7, तो ये अलजब्रिकली हमने देखना है, ये -7 छोटा होता है ना 5 से, एब्सोल्यूट वैल्यू नहीं, अलजब्रिकली। तो ये हम कहेंगे ये मिनिमम है और ये मैक्सिमम। ठीक है, सो इस तरह से आपको पता चल जाएगा कि थीटा पी का जो कौन सा रूट आपको मैक्सिमम सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम देता है और कौन सा रूट जो है वो मैक्सिमम, कौन सा मैक्सिमम देता है कौन सा मिनिमम देता है। अगर हम जनरल इक्वेशन लिखना चाहें फॉर मैक्सिमम नॉर्मल स्ट्रेसेस, अगर हम जनरल इक्वेशन लिखना चाहें तो वो इस फॉर्म में होगी। आप फाइनली सॉल्व करके देखेंगे तो आपको वो इक्वेशन इस तरह से नज़र आएगी। जनरल अगर हम मैक्सिमम और मिनिमम की इक्वेशन लिखना चाहें तो वो इस फॉर्म में हम लिख सकते हैं। ठीक है, कुछ जनरल इक्वेशन होगी वो इस फॉर्म में होगी, यानी अगर आप tan टू थीटा पी, वही जो एक्सप्रेशन यहाँ से जो एक यहाँ के जो रूट्स होंगे जनरल रूट्स, स्पेसिफिक वैल्यूज़ डाल के नहीं, अगर आप उनको वापस यहाँ यानी यहाँ पे आप सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम निकालें फॉर कास टू थीटा पी और साइन टू थीटा पी वैल्यूज़ पुट करके, थीटा की जगह थीटा पी पुट कर लें जनरल एक्सप्रेशन से, तो फिर आपके पास जो आंसर्स आएंगे दोज विल बी सिग्मा 1, those will be 2 answers, one will be corresponding to positive sign corresponds to the maximum, negative sign corresponds to the minimum answer। ये कॉन्सेप्ट आप पहले भी इस तरह का पढ़ चुके हैं जब हम मोमेंट ऑफ इनर्शिया की ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन पढ़ रहे थे। तो यहाँ से अब आपके पास फाइनल आंसर इस तरह से आ जाएगा फॉर एग्जांपल सॉरी फाइनल आंसर अब इस फॉर्म में आ जाएगा, सिग्मा मैक्स इक्वल टू दिस वैल्यू एट थीटा पी इक्वल टू दिस, सिग्मा मिन इक्वल टू दिस वैल्यू एट थीटा पी इज इक्वल टू दिस। इसको फिर आप एलिमेंट के ऊपर भी शो कर लें, जिस एंगल पे जो निकाला है, यानी ये एंगल के ऊपर ये वाला शो कर लें, इस एंगल पे ये शो कर दें। अगर आप जो आपके पास थीटा पी की वैल्यूज़ हैं, यानी अगर आप थीटा पी की वैल्यू इस इक्वेशन में यूज़ कर रहे हैं, शेयर वाली इक्वेशन में, इस जगह अगर आप यूज़ करेंगे तो इसका आंसर आपके पास 0 आएगा। यू कैन ट्राई दिस, ठीक है। ये बल्कि अभी आपको एंड में आपको असाइनमेंट बताने वाला हूँ। एनीवेज अगर आप थीटा की जगह थीटा पी यहाँ यूज़ कर लें तो आपका आंसर 0 आएगा, ठीक। अच्छा, ये जो जस्ट अ मिनट, ये जो हमने मैक्सिमम और मिनिमम नॉर्मल स्ट्रेसेस निकाल ली हैं, दोज मैक्सिमम और मिनिमम नॉर्मल स्ट्रेसेस आर कॉल्ड प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेसेस, ठीक। यानी एक ओरिएंटेशन के ऊपर, एक पॉइंट के ऊपर कोई ख़ास ओरिएंटेशन ऐसी होगी जिसके ऊपर मैक्सिमम नॉर्मल और मिनिमम नॉर्मल स्ट्रेसेस होंगी, यानी मिनिमम और मैक्सिमम। तो वो जो स्पेशल प्लेन्स हैं उनको हम प्रिंसिपल प्लेन्स कहते हैं, यानी प्लेन डिफाइंड बाय थीटा पीज, ये वाला थीटा पी और ये वाला थीटा पी। लेट्स से हम इसको मैक्सिमम वाले को थीटा पी 1 कह देते हैं और मिनिमम वाले को थीटा पी 2 कह देते हैं। तो ये आपको थीटा पी 1 जो है, इट इज़ डिफाइनिंग दी मेजर प्रिंसिपल प्लेन, मेजर प्रिंसिपल प्लेन, और ये डिफाइन कर रहा है माइनर प्रिंसिपल प्लेन, ठीक। और ये आपका मेजर प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेस या मैक्सिमम क्या है, मेजर प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेस, और ये जो है आपका ये होगा माइनर प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेस, ठीक, पी फॉर प्रिंसिपल। ऑल राइट, तो इसको आप फाइनली मैं न्यूमेरिकल एग्जांपल के थ्रू आपको एलैबोरेट करता हूँ, ठीक है। इस फॉर्म में आप शो कर लेंगे। ये आपका इन प्लेन हम इसलिए कह रहे हैं कि ये हमारा प्लेन स्ट्रेसेस की बात हो रही है, तो ये इन प्लेन प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेसेस हैं, ठीक है, सिग्मा 1 सिग्मा 2, और अकॉर्डिंगली हम अब इसको सिर्फ हमने इसको टेंसाइल इसलिए शो किया, पॉजिटिव इसलिए शो किया है कि ये हम जनरल बात कर रहे हैं ना, अभी तो कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, असल वैल्यू तो ऐसे भी हो सकती थी, ऐसे भी हो सकती थी। सो ये आप इस तरह से कर सकते हैं, इस तरह से आपने फिर शो करना है फाइनल आंसर। इसी तरह अगर हम इसी क्वेश्चन को देखें, इसी जैसे अभी तक हमने इसकी बात की कि यहाँ ये कब मैक्सिमम और मिनिमम पे जाएगा, ठीक, उसकी बेस पे हमने कहा कि जिस पे ये मैक्सिमम या मिनिमम पे जाए वो स्पेशल एंगल थीटा पी कहलाएगा। इसी तरह हम इसकी लिए भी बात कर सकते हैं कि किस एंगल पे ये वाला फंक्शन टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम किस एंगल पे मैक्सिमम या मिनिमम आंसर देगा। तो वो इसका भी तरीका वही होगा। आप लेट मी ऐड अनदर पेज, मैं इसको कॉपी करके अगले पेज पे ले जाता हूँ। इसी क्वेश्चन में अगर आप देखें तो हम बात कर रहे हैं इसकी शेयर वाली साइड की कि ये कब मैक्सिमम और मिनिमम पे जाएगा। तो अगेन इसका तरीका क्या होगा, आप डेरिवेट करेंगे टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम को विद रिस्पेक्ट टू थीटा एंड पुट इट इक्वल टू 0। अब यहाँ पे जो आज आपके पास एक्सप्रेशन में थीटा आएगा, दैट वुड बी कॉल्ड, लेट्स सी व्हाट सिंबल। तो यहाँ पे जो अब एंगल आएगा, ये जैसे आप सॉल्व करके निकालेंगे यहाँ से एंगल, ये आपके पास इक्वल टू 0 उसी तरह। तो यहाँ से जब आप थीटा एस का आंसर निकालेंगे, दैट थीटा का एंगल निकालेंगे, वो एक स्पेशल वैल्यू ऑफ थीटा होगा जिसके लिए आपका टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम यानी आपका शेयर स्ट्रेस 0 मैक्सिमम पे पहुँच रहा है, ठीक। डेरिवेटिव उसका 0 और ख़ुद वो वैल्यू फंक्शन मैक्सिमम या मिनिमम पे पहुँचता है। तो वो जो थीटा एस है, उस थीटा एस के ऊपर उसका अगर हम जनरल एक्सप्रेशन देखें तो वो आपके पास ये वाली एक्सप्रेशन आएगी जो आपको यहाँ नज़र आ रही है। सो लेट मी कॉपी दिस डाउन ओवर हियर। ठीक है, ये वो जनरल एक्सप्रेशन होगी फॉर थीटा एस, ठीक। आप इसमें ये वैल्यूज़ पुट करके यू कैन गेट द वैल्यूज़। अब अगेन वही बात है कि ये इसके एक से ज़्यादा रूट्स हो सकते हैं, तो 2 रूट्स आप ले रहे होंगे सेपरेटेड बाय लाइक 90 डिग्री, थीटा एस के 2 रूट्स सेपरेटेड बाय 90 डिग्री, इसका पीरियड 90 हो जाएगा। ये बात पहले भी मैं काफ़ी दफ़ा डिस्कस कर चुका हूँ। सो थीटा एस की वैल्यूज़ आपके पास यहाँ से आ रहे होंगे। अगर वो थीटा एस की वैल्यू आप यहाँ पे यूज़ करेंगे तो आपके पास जो टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम का आंसर आएगा वो लोकल मैक्सिमम या मिनिमम आ रहा होगा। यानी हम सिंपली अभी इसको कह रहे हैं कि वो एक एक्सट्रीम वैल्यू को पहुँच रहा होगा। हम उसको रिप्रेजेंट कर लेते हैं जनरली बाय, तो जनरली अगर हम उसको रिप्रेजेंट करें उस वैल्यू ऑफ टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम को, जिसके ऊपर वो जो कि मैक्सिमम वैल्यू होगी फॉर व्हेन यू पुट थीटा इक्वल टू थीटा एस ओवर हियर, देन टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम विल बिकम इक्वल टू अ सर्टेन मैक्सिमम वैल्यू। उसको वो जो मैक्सिमम वाली वैल्यू होगी ना, वो जनरल एक्सप्रेशन उसका ये है, ठीक। यानी यहाँ से ये जो थीटा एस यहाँ से इक्वेशन से आता है, अगर इस इक्वेशन से जो थीटा एस है ये आप यहाँ पुट करें बाय यूजिंग सम ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक फंक्शन, तो फिर आपके पास जो जनरल आंसर आएगा टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम का, यानी टा एक्स प्राइम वाई प्राइम की वैल्यू फॉर थीटा इक्वल टू थीटा एस, we are giving it a general name term x in plane, ठीक। ये इन प्लेन अगेन हम इसलिए कह रहे हैं कि वी आर यूजिंग प्लेन स्ट्रेसेस ओनली, प्लेन स्ट्रेस का केस है ये, इसलिए इन प्लेन की बात कर रहे हैं। और ये सारी स्ट्रेसेस इन अ सिंगल प्लेन लाई कर रही हैं। सो सिंगल प्लेन से लाई करने की मुराद ये नहीं है कि वो एक प्लेन पे एक्ट कर रही हैं, उनको हम एनालाइज कर सकते हैं इन अ सिंगल प्लेन, ये मुराद है इससे। तो वो इक्वेशन आपके पास ये वाली बनेगी। अब ये आपको जब आप रूट्स निकालेंगे खुद तो आपको आइडिया हो जाएगा, ये प्लस और माइनस साइन के साथ आता है, ठीक है, प्लस और माइनस साइन, तो एक वैल्यू पॉजिटिव एक वैल्यू नेगेटिव, मैग्नीट्यूड सेम होगा। तो एनीवेज आप खुद से देख सकेंगे कि थीटा एस के किस रूट के ऊपर आंसर पॉजिटिव आता है और किस रूट के ऊपर आंसर नेगेटिव आता है, या बाय यू कंफर्म कर सकते हैं बाय पिकिंग वन रूट ऑफ थीटा एस एंड पुटिंग इट इन द जनरल एक्सप्रेशन। आपको पता चल जाएगा किसके लिए आंसर पॉजिटिव आता है, किसके लिए आंसर नेगेटिव आता है। अगर इसी थीटा एस को आप सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम वाली इक्वेशन में डालें, सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम फॉर थीटा इक्वल टू थीटा एस, तो यहाँ से जो सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम का आंसर आएगा दैट वुड बी इक्वल टू सिग्मा एक्स प्लस सिग्मा वाई बाई टू। यू कैन कन्फर्म दिस योर सेल्फ, ठीक है। इसको हम सिग्मा एवरेज बोल सकते हैं, एवरेज ऑफ सिग्मा एक्स एंड सिग्मा वाई, ठीक। सो ये हम बात कर रहे थे इसकी। तो ये आपको ओरिएंटेशन यहाँ से पता चल जाएगी मैक्सिमम इन प्लेन शेयर स्ट्रेस की, कि वो किस प्लेन पे हैं, और यहाँ से उनका मैग्नीट्यूड्स पता चल जाएगा। और ये हमने एक एडिशनल बात कर ली है कि अगर हम थीटा एस वाले ओरिएंटेशन पे, जिस प्लेन पे मैक्सिमम इन प्लेन शेयर स्ट्रेस है, जैसे ये प्लेन्स आपको नज़र आ रही हैं, ठीक, जिनके ऊपर मैक्सिमम शेयर स्ट्रेस एक्ट कर रहा है, उनके ऊपर नॉर्मल स्ट्रेस कितना एक्ट कर रहा होगा, जीरो नहीं होगा, इट विल बी इक्वल टू सिग्मा एक्स प्लस सिग्मा वाई बाई टू। एवरेज हमने इसलिए सिग्मा एवरेज इसलिए लिख दिया। सो यू कैन प्रोग्राम दिस इक्वेशंस और आप इजीली इसको फिर यूज़ कर सकते हैं। जस्ट हैव अ लुक एट दिस न्यूमेरिकल प्रॉब्लम। द स्टेट ऑफ स्ट्रेस एट अ पॉइंट जस्ट बिफोर फेलियर ऑफ दिस शाफ्ट इज शोन इन फिगर 9-11A। रिप्रेजेंट दिस स्टेट ऑफ स्ट्रेस इन टर्म्स ऑफ इट्स प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेसेस। इस जगह पे आपको ये स्टेट ऑफ स्ट्रेस दिखाया गया है, ठीक है, जस्ट बिफोर फेलियर। यानी ये इसके ऊपर आप ये कैसे आया है, ये हमें इंफॉर्मेशन देने के बजाय कि आप ये खुद कैलकुलेट करें, ये डायरेक्टली हमें बता दिया गया कि ये इतनी स्ट्रेसेस हैं, इनकी वैल्यूज़ बता दी गई, ठीक, डायरेक्टली ये आपको गिवन है ये वाला एलिमेंट। सो सिग्मा एक्स की वैल्यू -20, सिग्मा वाई की वैल्यू +90, स्टा एक्स वाई की वैल्यू +60, ठीक। ये हमने पहले से लिस्ट कर दिया। अब हम प्रिंसिपल प्लेन्स और उनके ऊपर जो स्ट्रेसेस हैं वो निकाल ले जा रहे हैं। तो उसके ओरिएंटेशन के लिए अभी हमने डिस्कस कर लिया tan to थीटा p, ये एक्सप्रेशन में आप वैल्यूज पुट करेंगे एंड यू विल बी हैविंग रूट्स लाइक दिस। तो थीटा p1 और थीटा p2 दो रूट्स आ रहे होंगे आपके पास, ठीक। आप इनको 1 और 2 जस्ट नंबरिंग कर दें, 1 2, ठीक है। सॉल्विंग एंड रिफरिंग टू दिस फर्स्ट एंगल एज थीटा p2। आप अभी आपको वैसे पता नहीं होगा कि मैं इसको 1 कहूँ या 2 कहूँ, तो आप इसको सिंपली tan to थीटा p की दो रूट्स निकाल लें। मसलन मैं अगर इसको आपको पेज के ऊपर करके दिखाऊँ, सो लेट मी टेक इट टू द पेज। इस तरह से आप 2 थीटा p आप कैलकुलेटर से करेंगे, कैलकुलेटर आपको एक ही वैल्यू, एक ही रूट देगा, ठीक है। कैलकुलेटर को पता है कि ये पीरियड, आप मतलब कैलकुलेटर एज्यूम कर रहे हैं, आपको पता है ये पीरियडिक फंक्शन है और ये रिपीट करेगा। अब ये 2 थीटा p का अगर आपने रूट निकाला है, सॉल्व किया है ये कैलकुलेटर ने आपका, तो आपको अभी 2 थीटा p की वैल्यू पता चली है। तो दूसरा जो इसका रूट होगा वो आप प्लस माइनस 180 ऐड कर दें इसमें, ठीक है। लेकिन अगर हम थीटा पी के लिए कर रहे होंगे तो ये आंसर आपका हाफ हो जाएगा। थीटा पी के लिए ये आंसर्स आ जाएंगे, डिवाइड कर लें ना आप 2 से सारी इक्वेशन को, तो ये आंसर आ जाएगा। अब चाहे आप प्लस के साथ कर लें या माइनस के साथ कर लें, अब मैं मसलन एक को ही लेता हूँ, दो को लेके फिर आपको तो कन्फ्यूजन होनी शुरू हो जाएगी। सो एक रूट तो आपके पास आपको पता है। अच्छा सॉरी, मैं यहाँ पे प्लस माइनस तो यहाँ पे लिख गया हूँ, बट आई जस्ट वांट टू मेक अ करेक्शन ओवर हेयर। इसका बेहतर तरीका ये है कि आप इस तरह से लिखें, एक रूट तो ये आपको कैलकुलेटर दे देगा, अब दूसरा रूट आप इसी रूट में या प्लस 80 कर दें या माइनस 180 कर दें, ठीक। मैंने मसलन प्लस 180 कर दिया, ठीक। नॉर्मली अगर नेगेटिव है तो अगले रूट में आप पॉजिटिव करके देख लें, ताकि एक पॉजिटिव रूट आ जाए, एक नेगेटिव रूट आ जाए, लेकिन इससे कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता, आप जो लिखना चाहें यू कैन राइट। प्लस 180 कर दें या माइनस 180 कर दें, नो प्रॉब्लम। अच्छा थीटा पी, अब आपने पूरी क्वेश्चन को 2 से डिवाइड किया तो ये आंसर बन जाएगा। अब आपके पास दो रूट्स आ गए, एक -23.7 डिग्री, एक आ गया +66.3 डिग्री। अब आपको नहीं पता कि किस थीटा के ऊपर मेरा आंसर मैक्सिमम आएगा, किसके ऊपर मिनिमम आएगा। एक तरीका तो सिंपल ये है कि आप इस वैल्यू को लें और इस वैल्यू, दोनों वैल्यूज़ को पुट कर दें जनरल इक्वेशन फॉर सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम के अंदर। ये वाली जो इक्वेशंस थी, इनमें आप जो सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम वाली इक्वेशन है इसमें पुट कर दें आप, ठीक है। इस वक्त हम सिर्फ इसी की बात कर रहे हैं, ऊपर ये वाला जो स्ट्रेस है, ठीक है। ये अभी इस वक्त हमारा नहीं है रेलिवेंट, लेकिन चलें अभी लिखा हुआ है, रहने दे लिखा हुआ। तो ये सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम के अंदर आप ये वाला रूट भी पुट कर दें और अगली दफ़ा आप ये पुट कर दें, ठीक। तो आपको दोनों आंसर्स मिल जाएंगे, मिनिमम भी मिल जाएगा, मैक्सिमम भी मिल जाएगा, ठीक है। अगर आप बस ये इसी तरह करना चाहें, इस तरह भी आप कर सकते हैं। बस एक दफ़ा ये वैल्यू पुट करके देख लें, एक दफ़ा ये वैल्यू पुट करके देख लें, तो आपके पास आंसर्स आ जाएंगे। एक आंसर मैक्सिमम, एक आंसर मिनिमम। जो बड़ा आंसर है वो मैक्सिमम, जो अलजेब्रिकली बड़ा, और जो छोटा है वो आपका मिनिमम। सो यू विल बी गेटिंग दीज आंसर। सो तो आपने -23.7 डिग्री जो एंगल है ये इस इक्वेशन में यूज़ कर लेना है, ठीक है। और आपके पास ये मैंने इस तरह से रिप्रेजेंट कर दिया, सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम की वो वाली वैल्यू जो थीटा की वैल्यू थीटा पी इक्वल टू ये पुट करने से आती है, ठीक। सो वो आंसर आ जाएगा -46.4 मेगापास्कल। इसी तरह आप कर लेंगे सिग्मा एक्स प्राइम बाय पुटिंग थीटा इक्वल टू अनदर वैल्यू ऑफ थीटा पी, अनदर रूट ऑफ थीटा पी विच इज़ 66.3 डिग्री, 66.3 डिग्री। ये आप पुट कर लेंगे। अब आपके पास एक और आंसर आ जाएगा, वो आंसर आ जाएगा 116 मेगापास्कल। सो दिस इज़ the minor principal stress या minimum principal stress, and this is the major principal stress, or you can say minimum principal stress and maximum principal stress. And this plane is defining the minor principal plane, and this plane is defining the major principal plane. So now let's show these stresses acting on those planes. You can show them with let's start drawing. Now let me first draw the plane represented by this angle. You see, this angle would be somewhat like this. I mean, this angle 66.3 degree. It's good to start with the angle. This angle is 66.3 degree. This is the x prime of the plane, this one, all right, perpendicular to the, all right, this is the plane whose normal x prime is at 66.3 degree with the original x-axis. All right, now on this plane this stress is acting 116 megapascal, and this is positive. It means it will be acting along positive x prime axis. All right, so 116 megapascal. This is how you start with, and then you have another plane. Now you can complete the element. You can complete the element over here. Now on this element, you see
if this is 116 megapascal, naturally this will also be 116 megapascal. And you know, you have to show stress on either this plane or this plane. Now let's see which plane is defined by this angle. Minus 46.4, sorry, this angle, minus 23.7 degree. This angle, just try to draw this angle first. You know, this angle is negative, it means it will be from this reference, sorry, from this horizontal original x-axis, this must be at clockwise 23.7 degree. All right, so this is 23.7 degree. This is the x prime of the x prime of the plane defined by this angle. All right, so this is, you know, the x prime. This is the x prime of the angle. ये मैं दोबारा उसी को draw कर रहा हूँ, 23.7 degree clockwise. Now this stress is minus 46.4 megapascal. It means it will be acting opposite to the positive x prime axis, which means it will be compressive. So this 46.4 megapascal. So this must also be 46.4 megapascal in the opposite direction. So this is how you complete drawing the element. How about the shear stresses acting over here? We have just said in our general discussion that these stresses would be equal to 0. You can confirm this by putting one of these angles, either this angle or whichever angle you use, you will be getting an answer of 0 for this stress. You will be getting 0 shear stress if you put angle equal to one of the roots of theta p, either this one or this one, whichever you use, you will be getting 0. So you see there are 0 stresses acting on the principal plane. So you know, you should just to be like you will be showing this as sigma 1 and this as sigma 2. You can either represent this, you know, although this information, this element itself is telling that this is our principal plane on which these principles, major principal, this is our major principal plane on which the major principal stress 116 megapascal is acting, or even this plane is also the same. Similarly, this is a minor principal plane on which the minor principal stress or the minimum principal stress is acting, minimum normal stress is acting. So this is the maximum normal stress and this is the minimum normal stress. So major principal stress or minimum principal stress, so minor principal stress. So this is the complete answer. This itself is the complete answer. So you can further elaborate this by you know, telling that this is our, you know, major principal plane and, you know, this is our minor principal plane. This will further elaborate your answer, although not compulsory. So this is how you can use those equations for finding principal stresses. आगे जाने से पहले आपका सरप्राइज क्विज़ मैं ले रहा हूँ. आप अपना फॉर्म आपने पहले से खोला हुआ है, मैं क्विज़ आपको डिस्प्ले कर रहा हूँ. आपने उसका ये MCQ है, आपने उसका मल्टीपल चॉइस, आपने बस करेक्ट ऑप्शन को चूज़ करना है और सबमिट करना है. सो इट शुड बी टेकिंग यू मिनिमम टाइम. सो हियर इज़ द क्वेश्चन. Principal stresses are the maximum minimum dash stresses, normal, shear, torsional, maybe normal or shear. Put your answer and let me know. So I hope you have inserted the answer. So we're continuing with the numerical problem. Let's see another numerical problem. This is a status. This diagram is telling you a state of plane stress at a point in a body, and you have to represent this state of stress in terms of its maximum in-plane shear stress and associated average normal stresses. So simply put, you need to know the maximum in-plane shear stresses and their orientation. So you need to apply this formula that we discussed. This formula, let me see, yeah, this formula for knowing the orientation of maximum in-plane shear stresses, and then for you can use this formula for knowing their quantities, or you can use the basic method. So so you can show the you can use the same method that we have already discussed. Just put these values sigma x, sigma y, and you will be getting an answer for 2 theta s. So 2 theta s will be equal to, you get the answer 2 theta s equal to 42.5 degree. Now the other route would be, again, it is a tan function, you're using 2 theta s, so the other can be written as 42.5 plus 180 or minus 180 degree. So next you can divide the whole equation by 2, and so you will get 21.3 degree and 111.3 degree. Now use any of these roots, or rather both of them, separate one by one. So use the general expression for tau x prime y prime. So put theta equal to theta s, use one of the roots first, 21.3 degree let's say, and get your answer. So you get plus 81.4 megapascal. Next you try the other root, 111.3 degree, and you get the negative answer, same answer with a negative sign. You will get this, the equation for tau x prime y prime. I hope you remember the equation for tau x prime y prime. This was the general equation. In this equation you will be putting, once you will be putting one root of theta s, and the second time you will be putting the second root of theta s. So this way you will be able to get these roots. So now you can show them acting on, even for the same, you can also see, you can also find sigma x prime at maybe one of the roots, maybe theta s, at maybe theta equal to theta s. You can try one of them, because you can try both of them, but you can try one of them, that would be enough. So you will be getting an answer sigma x prime 35 megapascal, this stress. You could also determine sigma x prime corresponding to another root of theta s, which would be 111.3 degree, and you will see that you will be getting the same answer, 35 megapascal. All right, you could have obtained these results by using, these equations as used by R.C. Hibbeler, the general equations for the maximum, and you can also use the general result that you get average stress on both faces of the maximum in plane shear stress is 35 megapascal. So this is how you can show them. Next you can draw the rotated element. This was the original element, and these are the two critical orientations at which the angles, the shear stresses are taking their maximum values, 21.3 degree and 111.3 degree. So 21.3 into, let's first show the angle of 21.3 degree. Before before you start drawing the rotated element, show the angle, one of the angles. Show the angle. Let's say this angle is, this angle is plus 21.3 degrees, so it is in the counterclockwise direction. This is the x prime of this plane. So you will be showing, this normal stress 35 megapascal acting on this plane, 35 megapascal, and showing the shear stress acting on this plane. Shear stress at this plane, you see from this equation, is plus 81.4 megapascal. What does it mean? This was the x prime and this is the y prime for this plane. So the positive value means that it will be acting in the positive y prime direction. So plus 81.4 megapascal shear stress. Now you can complete the element. Sorry. Like this. And once you have done this, you can show some of the other forces by equilibrium. So you have shown stress is acting on this plane and on the opposite plane. This will be in the opposite direction. All right, 81.4 megapascal. Now you can see that this 111.3 degree, this angle this angle is representing this plane. You will see it in a while. This angle is 111.3 degree. All right, this is the x prime of this face. I wanted to draw normal to it, but let's accept this is normal. So on this face you have again x sigma x prime, this angle, and this is the answer. You get again 35 megapascal. So this is 35 megapascal normal stress tensile, and again for this angle the shear stress is minus 81.4 megapascal. Although you know that from here you can draw the rest of the arrows for shear stresses, because it would be joining the heads of the previous one. These I'm just showing them by dotted line at the moment, and you see, even if you look at this answer for this angle, you are getting minus 81.4. What does it mean? Although we have already shown it, because we have been able to draw these arrows based on these arrows. So but if you wanted to show it, it would have been shown like this. Look, this is the positive x prime direction, and this is the positive y prime direction. So positive y prime is in this direction, so negative value will have to be shown in the opposite direction, this direction. So this would have been in this direction, and naturally again this is confirmed by another way that this is in this direction, this stress. So you can see that this is how you would show this. This element is representing what you have been asked, representing the state of stress in terms of its maximum in-plane shear stress and its associated average normal stress. So let's complete it by drawing on this side the normal stress also, 35 megapascal. You could have obtained this answer by simply averaging the sigma x and sigma y. The given was minus 20 and 90. So their average would be 35 minus 20 and 90. That average is 35 megapascal. So instead of calculating it by this method, you can straight away use this general result. This is a special case in which this stress is acting on the plane which has maximum shear stresses. This is the normal stress acting on the plane having maximum shear stresses. So those are these planes. So that's why we can use this formula. Otherwise, the general formula is what we have already discussed. So this is how you calculate maximum in-plane shear stresses and the associated average normal stresses. There are some more examples given over here. Please go ahead and study them. I would just comment on the results. This is when the torsional loading T is applied to the bar. This torsional loading, it produces a state of pure shear stress in the material. Determine the maximum in-plane shear stress and the associated average normal stress, and second, determine the principal stress. Now from the established, this has been established. This is the point. This is the element on which these stresses are acting, and you can establish these directions easily. So looking at the directions of these arrows, now mix the sigma x is 0, sigma y is 0, and tau xy is minus tau, because on the right face this is acting in downward direction, so we are writing it minus tau. The magnitude is tau, and that the minus sign is telling that this is in the negative y direction. Now maximum in-plane shear stresses, you can directly calculate their magnitudes by using the direct formula with a plus and minus sign. So plus minus tau, and the sigma average is 0. Now thus, as expected, the maximum in-plane shear stress is represented by the element. The same element is actually representing the maximum in-plane shear stress. Alright. Through experiment, it has been found that materials that are ductile actually fail due to shear stress. This is an important thing. It has been experimentally observed that ductile materials are weak in shear. They actually fail due to shear stress. So as a result, if the bar in figure 9-13A is made of mild steel, just as you have done a torsion test on mild steel sample, the maximum in-plane shear stress will cause it to fail, as shown in the adjacent photo, this photo. If this material is made of, this bar is made of mild steel, it will fail at
uh, just 90 degree, I mean 0 degree, because its x-axis would be 0 degree, making 0 degree. So vertical plane के ऊपर कटेगा जिसका 0 degree एक एंगल हम कहेंगे, x के साथ एंगल उसका 0 degree. So इसी के ऊपर ये 0 degree वाला ही इसका मैक्सिमम इन प्लेन shear stress है. अगर आप इसका थीटा एस कैलकुलेट करेंगे तो यू विल गेटिंग 0 डिग्री आंसर. थीटा एस निकाल के देखिएगा 0 डिग्री आंसर आएगा. वो 0 डिग्री का क्या मतलब है? यही ओरिएंटेशन जो आपको दिखाई गई, यही ओरिएंटेशन मैक्सिमम इन प्लेन shear स्ट्रेस की है. और नेक्स्ट वी वर्क आउट दी प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेस. Now applying equations that we have already discussed, you can use this procedure and come up with the answers. This is the final answer. The final answer is that we have compressive stress, compressive normal stress. I mean this is the minor principal stress, and this is the maximum, the major principal stress. Alright, minimum normal stress and maximum normal stress. So they are only I mean this is this is plus tau and this is minus tau. I mean this is tensile and this is compressive. Magnitude wise they are equal. So we are calling this as maximum based on its positive sign. It's a positive value, that algebraically maximum. All right. So this angle we have calculated to be equal to 45 degree using the procedures that you can see easily yourself. 45 degree angle. Now, what does this result tell you? If this material, and we have observed experimentally that brittle material are weak in tension, and brittle materials tend to fail due to normal stress. So they would fail along a plane at which normal stresses are maximum. Now in this case, normal stresses are maximum on this orientation and this orientation. Normally brittle materials would fail at a plane which has maximum normal stress, and in this case the maximum normal stress is this one, the tensile stress. So they would fail along this plane, you see this plane, 45 degree 45 degree plane. So this is because these materials, these brittle materials are weak in tension. They are weak in tension. I mean, consider a glass, a brittle material. It is weak in tension, so it will fail along a plane where at which the normal stresses, maximum tensile stresses are being produced. I mean, the principal stresses are acting. So if this bar is made of cast iron is a brittle material. It will fail in tension at a 45 degree inclination as seen in the adjacent photo, and you have seen this in your lab. Let me show you a tension test example. This is axial loading tensile test, just as you perform on tension test on your steel samples. It produces a tensile stress in the material. Now determine principal stress and maximum in plane shear stress and associated average normal stress. Now if you see, you can easily represent this. Let's the P over A is sigma, so let's represent it by sigma. From the established sign convention, we can write down sigma x equal to sigma y is 0 and tau xy is 0. Now use your procedure, you will come to know that theta p is equal to 0 in this case. What does it mean? The same orientation is representing the state of principal stress. So this is the major principal stress, this is the minor principal stress. Now brittle materials, again we are repeating the same thing. Brittle materials have a property that they fail due to normal stresses. They fail along plane at which the maximum normal stresses are acting. Therefore, I mean maximum tensile stresses are acting. So therefore, if this bar is made of cast iron, it will fail along this plane. This यानी वो बिल्कुल सीधा सीधा यहाँ पे कटेगा. Axial failure of a cast iron. So आपने cast iron का, I'm not sure if you performed this test or not, but if you had performed, I'm not sure if you have, you will see a failure plane like this. All right. So I guess you haven't performed this, but if you had performed, you will be getting this kind of failure plane. सीधा सीधा कटेगा ये, ठीक. यानी जो एंगल होगा प्लेन का जिसके ऊपर वो टूटेगा वो 0 डिग्री एंगल होगा, यानी प्लेन वर्टिकल होगा और उसका एंगल 0 डिग्री होगा. दिस इज वाई, because it is going to fail along a plane at which the maximum normal stresses are acting, and this is that plane. All right. So
Next is if we are determining the maximum in plane shear stresses and associated average normal stresses. So using the procedure, you will see that this is the final result. Now you see, you will see that theta s is equal to 45 degree. Now with this result, what you see is that the average, that although the bar is subjected to pure axial loading, I mean you see this is a direct axial loading, uh, axial tensile loading, but what happens is that at a certain plane which is 45 degree with the which whose normal is making an angle of 45 degree with horizontal, at this plane we have maximum shear stresses. Now if this material is made of a ductile material like mild steel, it will fail along a plane having 45 degree angle with x-axis. Look at this plane. This plane is making, this is the failure plane whose normal would be making 45 degree with x-axis. So this is how the brittle materials and ductile materials fail along different orientations in the same setup and the same loading or situation. So you see, although we had subjected this to a pure tensile loading, मतलब इसमें हमने टेंशन टेस्ट परफॉर्म कर रहे थे ना, तो लगा तो हम इसको टेंशन ले रहे थे, लेकिन ये उस प्लेन पे नहीं फेल हुआ. अगर ये मेड ऑफ, मैं माइल्ड स्टील की बात कर रहा हूँ, मैं माइल्ड स्टील की बात कर रहा हूँ, अभी माइल्ड स्टील की बात कर रहा हूँ. ये माइल्ड स्टील का बना हो और आप इसको बिल्कुल डायरेक्ट प्योर टेंसाइल लोडिंग अप्लाई करें, फिर भी ये टेंशन में फेल नहीं हो रहा. एक्चुअली ये मतलब अपेरेंटली हम कहते हैं कि टेंशन में फेल हुआ और टेंशन में वो यील्ड हुआ, लेकिन एक्चुअली जो वो फेल हो रहा होता है वो फेलियर प्लेन बता रहा होता है कि ये अगर ये टेंशन में फेल हुआ होता तो इसका इस तरह का प्लेन बनता है जिस तरह कास्ट आयरन का नज़र आता है, लेकिन इसका प्लेन कुछ इस तरह का बनता है, ये कप एंड कॉन जो शेप बन जाती है बेसिकली. तो ये वो जो इस प्लेन पे फेल हो रहा है, इसका इस प्लेन पे तो स्ट्रेसेस कौन सी मैक्सिमम है, शेयर स्ट्रेसेस मैक्सिमम है इसके ऊपर. इसका मतलब इट एक्चुअली फेल ड्यू टू शेयर स्ट्रेसेस इवन व्हेन द लोडिंग वाज प्योर टेंसाइल. माइल्ड स्टील यानी किसी डक्टाइल मटेरियल की बात कर रहा हूँ. सो जाहिर है अगर किसी और केस में जहाँ टेंसाइल लोडिंग भी हो, जहाँ शेयर लोडिंग कंबाइंड लोडिंग लग रही होगी, तो वहाँ तो ये डेफिनेटली शेयर की वजह से ही फेल होगा ना. जब टेंशन टेस्ट में प्योर टेंसाइल स्ट्रेसेस लग रही हैं, मतलब प्योर टेंसाइल टेस्ट लोड आप अप्लाई कर रहे हैं और आपके पास मैक्सिमम टेंसाइल स्ट्रेस इस प्लेन के ऊपर आता है, तो अगर तो टेंसाइल की वजह से फेल होता तो इस तरह फेल हो जाना चाहिए था ना, लेकिन ये शेयर की वजह से फेल हो रहा है, तभी ये 45 डिग्री प्लेन के ऊपर जिसकी वजह से कप एंड कॉन बन जाते हैं उसके ऊपर फेल हो जाते हैं. बेसिकली ये एक दूसरे से स्लिपिंग हो जाती है इसकी. ठीक है. So we will further discuss this when we discuss theories of failure, but this is all for today. In the end, I'm just assigning you one thing. I was telling you that you have to derive those expressions yourself. Please do derive those general expressions yourself. The general expression for the for principal stress, these general expressions, this equation and this equation, and also this equation and these four equations. I want you to derive these equations. And again, after deriving these expressions, add to it this expression also. So these 5 equations, I want you to derive these expressions yourself. You have, this is your assignment in fact. So your assignment, in your assignment you will be starting like this. Let me show you what is your assignment, complete assignment right from the start. You will be starting with this topic, right, and doing the complete steps, I mean including the sign convention, all these figures, and please do not just reproduce this, make the simplifications yourself. I'll be conducting a short viva from this assignment. This assignment carries 5%, absolute 5% weightage, all right, this complete assignment. So make sure you do it yourself. So derive these equations step by step. I mean, don't just say that I have used these simplifying trigonometric identities. Actually perform the simplification. All right, I hope you understand it. The results are already given. You just have to show the intermediate steps, all right, and use the same procedure that we used for for this problem. All right. So you will derive these results, and then next you will derive these equations. This equation 9-4, and then this equation 9-5, and then also prove that if you put theta p equal to if you put theta p in the expression for tau x prime y prime, you get 0. What I want to say is prove that there is zero shear stress acting on this plane. Prove it generally. Maximum in plane shear stress, derive this equation also, and also derive these three equations. All right, you will be deriving these three equations also. Now what next are you going to do? You're going to do some numerical problems for your practice. So we have some preliminary problems, and then we have some fundamental problems, and then we have the true problems. So in all these cases you have to pick your problem based on your registration number. If you are an odd registration number, solve P9-1, leave P9-2. If you are an even registration number, leave this one, odd one, and solve the even one. All right, again over here, fundamental problems, only if you are in an odd registration number, only solve odd problems and leave the other ones, and vice versa for even registration numbers. And then in the case of problems, you have to go up to problem you have to go up to this problem 9-43. All right, you have to go up to problem 9-43. Please do this. You have any problem, you can discuss with me, but please don't copy. All right. In this set of problems also, from 9-1 to 9-43, if you're an odd registration number, solve only the odd number problem and leave the even one, and vice versa for the even registration numbers. All right, these are simple problems. I am allowing you to use Excel sheet for repetitive calculations. You can submit that Excel sheet along with your assignment. You will be doing the derivations and the manuals. You have two options for the numerical problems. You can either use completely Excel, or you can use combination of Excel and paper pencil with calculator. So whatever resources you need, you can use, but you must be understanding it. I'll be conducting a short viva to make sure that you have to check that you have done it yourself. All right, so if you you don't understand something, you please leave it, but don't submit me a copied assignment. I hope you understand this. You can be in a big trouble if you submit me a copied assignment. So this is all for this lecture. This is all for your assignment. Next time inshallah we will be discussing these Mohr circle for plane stress. So this is it for today.